You look good. Hi, everyone. This is Daphne Inman, the founder of Safer Communities in South Fulton. And today I have with me the Fulton County Chairman, Robb Pitts. He's joining me to answer a few questions that I have about the upcoming election. For those of you who haven't taken advantage of early voting, you still have time to cast your votes on Tuesday, June the 16th. So I want to thank you, Chairman Pitts, for joining me today. Um, we actually just saw each other. We see each other a lot around the county. You are very visible as a chairman, I must say. So the
Thank
first
you.
thing I want to ask you,
Sure. I'm
because
happy to
things
be
have
with you.
really heated up between you and Mo Ivory. Oh, good. And I just want to ask you, how do you plan, should you be reelected, how do you plan to do things differently as a chairman, being that you may have some new commissioners coming in? Let the people know how you plan to do things. Do you plan to do things differently, or do you plan to do things the same?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all, and really delighted. It's been a while for us to get together, but there will be a couple of new commissioners, no doubt about it. Could be two, could be three. We just don't know, depending on the will of the people. But the basics of government, whether it's city government or county government, are really the same. It all starts with the money. How much money do you have? And when new people come in, I will explain to them that it is the taxpayers' money and it's not the commissioner's money. And therefore, we need to be very careful in how we spend the taxpayers' money. And it's because of that, and for that reason, that I have been known as a taxpayers' watchdog since my days on the Atlanta City Council, many years ago. So that's point number one. I will explain to the new council members that this is what we have to work with from a financial point of view. And I'll also say this, there will be many millions of dollars more in requests for funds than we have available. That's when you have to be able to learn to say no. And that's very difficult for a lot of people in office to say no, because you have friends calling on you. Great programs. You'll have department heads who you've known for years asking you for more money, but you have to be frugal. You have to be diligent with the taxpayers' money. So that's rule number one that I will have, and the first thing that I will explain to all of the new people. Secondly, I will tell them that you must do your homework. You have to read. You have to study the issues. I mean, it's easy to come up with catchphrases and slogans and so forth, but the real work is done behind the scenes. And I will emphasize to them that if you're not prepared, you're not going to have a very long career. Thirdly, I would say to the new commissioners, you have to learn to get along with your colleagues. You may not always agree. In fact, you won't always agree, but it's always been said that politics is the art of compromise. So you have to work with the people who may not look like you, who may belong to different parties than you do, but in order to accomplish something as a commissioner, to get something done, you have to learn to work with others on the board of commissioners. So those are the three things that I would do, not things that I would do differently, but what I would start with to acclimate them to serving as a member of the Board of Commissioners of Fulton County.
Very good. Those are some very good key points and advice that you can give to the incoming commissioners. One of the things that Mo Ivy has mentioned is she would request a forensic audit. If the Fulton County's finances are already in good shape, why would you be opposed to a forensic audit that can increase the public confidence?
Mo Ivory was not on the Board of Commissioners long enough to understand the budget. Mo Ivory quit She quit on me. And remember, I brought her there. I handpicked her. I raised her money, gave her everything that she wanted, even before she was a commissioner. And she started stabbing me in the back less than 6 months on the board. But she wasn't there long enough to understand the budget process. Now, when she keeps talking about a forensic audit, I don't know if she understands what a forensic audit is. A forensic audit looks at an organization to determine whether or not there's been misappropriation of funds, theft by people in charge. So what I say to Miss Ivory today, and I've said it before, if you believe that I, as chair, have done something wrong, if you believe that my vice chair, Commissioner Khadijah Abdul Rahman, has done something wrong, if you believe that Commissioner Bob Ellis has done something wrong, if you believe that Commissioner Bridget Thorne has done something wrong, and the reason I single out the ones that I'm talking about is because she says that's the so-called Gang of Four. So if you believe that the Gang of Four has done something wrong, I challenge you to go to the FBI tomorrow morning with whatever proof you have, and I will meet you there. I will meet you there. In the absence of that, you need to stop talking about a forensic audit or look up what the definition of a forensic audit is. Now, with respect to our books, our budget process is open. It's fair. We look at our budget every year. We can go back 5 years. It's on our website. It's open. We have an open checkbook. You can see by department what department heads are asking for and how much they are funded each year. You can track it. So what she's talking about, I have no idea. But what it means to me, though, is she does not understand the budget process and has not been there long enough to know where the bathrooms are before she quit. And why did she quit? This was just a stepping stone for her. Her objective is to be the next mayor after Mayor Andre Dickens. That's her stated goal. So getting on the commission, step number one. Step number two, serving as chair and quitting, and then running for mayor of Atlanta. Whatever the next shiny toy is, that's her objective.
Very good. So that has been a buzzword. Forensic audits has been a buzzword in the city of South Fulton as well. And so I'm glad to hear the advice that you would recommend as it's related to a forensic audit. And it's important, I think, for the voters to know that there is transparency when it comes to the budget and the finances of the county.
That's correct.
Now, I'm sure that you've heard.
Let me add one other thing regarding because we now have for the first time in the history of Fulton County a AAA bond rating. That's AAA. That's the highest. Now, what's the significance of a AAA bond rating? It means that when we borrow money, at the lowest possible rate. And in order to achieve a AAA bond rating, you are scrutinized. A governmental entity is scrutinized from top to bottom to get it. Now, do you believe in your wildest dreams that if there was some hanky-panky, foolishness, underhanded, crooked stuff going on at the county, that we would have received a AAA bond rating? Absolutely not. So if Miss Ivory doesn't know what she's talking about, I would recommend that she stop spreading these, lies, falsehoods, whatever you want to call them, about county government. Because the truth of the matter is, You know, everybody knows that there are 159 counties in the state of Georgia, and we're the largest county in the state of Georgia. But I always remind people that there are 3,250 plus counties in the United States of America. 3,250 plus counties in the United States of America. And your Fulton County, Georgia, by some, is ranked number 4. Think about that. Number 4 out of 3,250 plus. Now, when you live in a place like Fulton County and you enjoy all of the things that Fulton County offers, you don't appreciate it, so to speak. But it's just a fact. And how do I know it's a fact? In addition to what the experts say, my colleagues across the country call me daily, weekly basis, asking me, Chairman Pitts, how in the world are you able to do all of the things that you do for your citizens, your seniors in particular, without raising property taxes or without increasing the millage rate? And I'm happy to tell them. So this notion that the county is going to hell in a handbasket is just not true. People are flocking to the state of Georgia. When they come to the state of Georgia, where do they come? They come to Fulton County, Georgia. People are flocking here from all parts of the country and really all parts of the world. Now, if we are so bad that she leads you to believe, why would people be coming here? They're coming here because of the quality of life, the opportunities that are here in Fulton County, the diversity that's here in Fulton County, and most of this has come about during my tenure as chair of the Board of Commissioners of Fulton County. I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish, and I'm not going to allow anybody to destroy and impugn the reputation that Fulton County has earned through the years just for political gain. It's not going to happen.
Very good points here. And that is when people come to Fulton County, especially when they come to the local colleges here. I'm born and raised here in Georgia. I was born at Georgia Baptist, so I'm not a Grady baby. But I've never left. My whole family is here. But what I also find interesting is people come to Morehouse, Spelman, Clark. They stay, right? They stay most of the time. They stay right here in Fulton County. So that is a very good point. Now, new leadership versus experience. I am a huge proponent of experience. I am in support of new leadership when the current or existing officials have shown that they have, there's been malfeasance or they've, had some improper policies that did not work, or they just didn't make the cut. So I'm in support of that at that time. But I do like wisdom and experience. Give me your feedback on what of new leadership of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners.
So I think there's no substitute for experience. And I think a diversity on the board is a good thing. My knowledge, my experience, my institutional knowledge about how things used to be, how things can become, and what the future can look like if we have a combination of young, bright ideas. That's why I'm so proud to have worked with even the new so-called progressives are helping me in this campaign because they understand that I am open to change. I'm open to new ideas, and that's a good thing. So my experience, I believe, is invaluable. I was talking to Ambassador Young the other day. He said, man, we need you. I mean, God help us if you're not there until such time as somebody else is ready. Now, it's key, until such time as somebody else is ready, and that somebody has not stepped forward yet. But I am certainly open to working with, training, helping new commissioners to grow, teaching them the ropes, so to speak. I think that's incumbent upon me to do so, and I'm perfectly willing to do that. but there's no substitute for experience. I have a solid track record of service. First, on the Atlanta City Council. Second, as president of the Atlanta City Council. Third, as a member of the Board of Commissioners of Fulton County. And fourth, as chairman of the Board of Commissioners of Fulton County. That's invaluable experience. Public policy, public finance. You don't learn that overnight. You can't even go to school and learn that. It takes the school, but it also takes it on the job, work, listening, learning. I've learned from a lot of people, and I take advantage of every opportunity that I have to talk with people who have experience. So again, no substitute for experience, but it is a key distinction in this race. I have years of solid experience doing the work, delivering for our community, never a scandal. And that's important. Never a scandal. Haven't stolen anything, not going to steal anything. I've served our community with dignity. Compare my record to her record, which is no record. Hadn't passed one piece of, wasn't there long enough in the first place and would not know how to pass legislation. So it takes time, no matter how smart you are, whether it's city council or whether it's the Board of Commissioners or whether it's the state legislature, it takes time to learn the formal rules and the informal rules, but you don't come in. And I think it was Jason Estevez who was talking about, I forget who he was talking. It may have been, I forget, is it one of the other candidates for governor? And he said, you don't join the church 1 week and then 2 weeks later, you want to become the senior pastor. It doesn't work that way. You have to pay your dues. I've paid my dues and she has not.
And I'm glad that you touched on, I've known you for quite some time, and I must applaud you for not having a scandal for the many years of your service to the community as an elected official. A lot of people can't say that. So that is very commendable. The other hot topic has been that Marvin Arrington and Mo have both said that you told them you weren't going to run again. I think part of that may have inspired them to run for your seat. What sparked, well, let me ask the question a different way. Was that misconstrued, and or was there a different conversation and you just may have changed your mind because you wanted to continue, you wanted to finish some things that you hadn't finished in your tenure?
Well, I never said I was not going to run again. That's just not accurate. But there are some things in projects that I have started, that I have spearheaded, that I definitely want to see completed. First and foremost, my vision, my idea, this medical hospital complex in South Fulton County. Let me just tell you about that, because that's been a hot topic as well. A couple of years before Wellstar closed Atlanta Medical Center and their facility in East Point, I and 3 or 4 others have been working privately on a plan to bring first-class medical care to South Fulton County. But when Wellstar closed those 2 facilities, that accelerated our activities, my activities in particular. We met and decided that we have to move much quicker than we were thinking about. We had meetings with Morehouse School of Medicine. We paid for a study that was done by E&Y, Ernst & Young, and the study came by and really proved what we already knew, that there was a need for first-class medical care in South Fulton County. So from there, we really got into high gear, working with our long-term partner, Brady Hospital. We have come up with a plan, and the plan is working. This is my vision. A lot of people are talking about it now, but I can tell you who was in that room, and all the folk who are talking about it, none of them were in the room when the work was being done. And I'm very proud of the fact that I do the work. I don't care who gets credit for it. I'm interested in the outcome. Here's the plan. First phase of the plan is a freestanding emergency medical clinic. We broke ground a little over a year ago, and it is amazing to me how quickly that has come together. In fact, it is now open. We started seeing patients at the freestanding emergency clinic about 2 weeks ago now. This will be the second or the third week. We haven't really had the official grand opening yet. We had ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings and all that, but we started seeing patients a couple of weeks ago. And the good news about that is just that we thought in that first week, most of the patients came from close proximity to where that facility is located. And the reason that facility is so important at this point in time, because if you lived in certain parts of South Fulton County, you had an emergency, it was quicker to drive to Macon, Georgia, than it was to drive to downtown Atlanta to Grady. So that facility is now up and open and operating. The second phase of this effort to bring first-class medical care to South Fulton County will be the construction of a brand new medical office complex. That medical office complex will be on the same footprint. It will house all of the medical specialties, urology, gynecology, cardiology, all of those other ologies. We will also have specialists in there in Black women's health, infant mortality. And I'm working privately right now, probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway since we're talking, working with CHOA, Children's Hospital, to make sure that they have a presence in that freestanding medical facility as well. That's phase 2. Phase 3 will be a brand new 200-bed hospital right here in South Fulton County. And I am just so thrilled about this complex that is going to be coming to South Fulton County. The total price tag for that medical complex, including the 3 phases, is $900 million. We at Fulton County, we're contributing $300 million. Grady Hospital is contributing $300 million. And the $300 million will be coming from the Fulton DeKalb Hospital Authority, and they will be raising their $300 million from the private sector and from nonprofits. So it's a $900 million project, and it's going to happen. So that's one of the projects that I want to see complete. The second project that I want to see completed, Dr. Victoria Seals and I, my dear friend, we've been talking about the need for more training on the South Side. And every child does not need a 4-year college degree. And that, I think the whole concept and the whole mindset about what to do after high school is changing. Dr. Seals and I had a concept, and it is also becoming a reality. Fulton County owned land in South Fulton County. We contributed the land, and Dr. Seals and the state, they're providing the rest. What is it? It is going to be a building where we will train 500 or 600 students a year in truck driving and logistics. These are really, really high-paying jobs, 6-figure jobs right here in South Fulton County. We've already broken ground. Very, very proud of that, but I want to be here to see that completed. Up the road, College Park, the county owned more land. We entered into an agreement with the city of College Park. Again, we contributed the land where everybody's familiar with the botanical gardens in Midtown, world-class facility. Well, guess what? We're going to have a comparable botanical gardens in South Fulton County, right in the city of College Park. That is also under construction now, and that's another project that I want to see completed. We have the best facilities in the country for our senior citizens, second to none. We call them multi-purpose centers. We're building or going to build another one in South Fulton County on land that we own. that will be the finest of all of them. And it'll be the finest because it will be the latest one. There's new technology and so forth. That's a new senior center that will be coming out of the ground. We've already, the RFP, request for proposals from developers, is already on the street to get ideas from developers, what it should look like, what it should contain, and so forth. But I'm very, very proud of that as well. And our seniors can't wait for that one to happen. That'll be joining, the Darnell Center, Mill Center, and the others that we have already. So that's just the name, just 2 or 3 projects that I'm working on, but one more. I'll tell you one other. At the intersection, when you exit I-20 at Fulton Industrial Boulevard, everybody remembers, if you've been there for a while, those hotels that were there. Homes for prostitution, drug use, everything bad under the sun. Well, guess what? Under my administration, we bought those hotels and we've demolished them. And we're going to replace them, not as hotels, but a mixed use development, which will be the gateway into the city of South Fulton in particular, with a mixed use development, which will mean retail and housing, restaurants, you name it. Everything that the community has been asking for will possibly be on that site. And I want to see that completed as well. So that's just a few of the projects that I'm working on and want to see completed. These things take time. They do not happen overnight. Then I can mention our jail. I know that's the elephant in the room, the jail. Early on, all of my colleagues were fascinated, enamored with this idea of building a brand new jail at the cost of $2 billion plus. I never bought into that, and I still don't. But over time, the board came to see things my way. What is my way? My way is not to build a brand new 5,000 or 6,000 bed jail. And let me talk about that. Why would we want to build a new 5,000 or 6,000 bed jail? Who's going to be in that jail? It's going to be Black and brown men and women. If you got the beds, you're going to lock up more Black and brown men and women. And that's not going to happen on my watch. They will be your fathers, your brothers, your uncles, your cousins who will be in that jail. Not going to happen under my watch. So the alternative, from my perspective, was to spend money on the front end so you wouldn't need to jail these additional beds at all. What we are doing, though, is for a lot less money, renovating the Rice Street Jail and building a medical facility on the same footprint where the Rice Street Jail is, that'll have about 1,500 beds. Why 1,500 beds? Because approximately 70% of the men and women in our jail have 1 or 2 problems, a substance abuse problem or a mental health problem. So we're going to spend money treating those 2 issues as opposed to keeping people confined. Because if you go into a jail, you may go in as an innocent child, but I can assure you will come out as a hardened, seasoned criminal. So we're going to spend money on the front end and not build a brand new country club style 4,000 or 5,000 bed brand new facility. Not going to happen. So I want to see that complete as well. And by the way, we all know that we are under what's called a federal consent decree now. We have a monitor overseeing what we do. And the monitor is in agreement with our plan. Not once has she mentioned a brand new jail. Now, what happens at the jail? Well, the Board of Commissioners, we don't manage the jail. The board does not manage the jail. We provide funds, the money for the sheriff to manage the jail. So once someone is arrested, they're taken to the jail, they then become the custody of the sheriff while they're in the jail. The next group of officials that gets involved, the district attorney, and the solicitor. They should be prosecuting them or letting them go. But sometimes, for various reasons, we've had your brothers, your sisters, your fathers in there for 6 months, a year, 2 years. We're making some progress, but that has been the pattern. Now, but when someone does get indicted, they go to court, the judges. What happens then? Well, some of the judges work full time. This is a fact. Some of the judges do not work full time. Some go to work at 10 o'clock, leave for lunch at 12 o'clock, and play golf the rest of the day, while your loved ones sit in those jails. How do I know this? Because we've tracked it. Also, because the judges who are working come to my office and tell me who is working and who is not working. So whenever it says Fulton County, everybody thinks it's always the Board of Commissioners of Fulton County. We get blamed for everything. But when you look at it and you sort of look at it closely to determine who is responsible for what, we each have our own responsibilities. And so we need to be very careful when we place all of the blame for things that are not necessarily as we want them to be on the Board of Commissioners of Fulton County. But we're managing your tax dollars properly, sound financial principles. And that's why we have that AAA bond rating I talked about. And that's also one of the reasons why people are flocking to Georgia. And when they come to Georgia, where do they come to? They come to Fulton County, Georgia, the home of our capital city. And I also must remind everybody that within Fulton County, there are 15 cities. And I challenge anyone to name all 15. That's always something I do, because rarely have I run into anyone who can name all 15 cities in Fulton County. But obviously we love our capital city, which is here, but there are 14 other cities that the board is responsible for and providing services for. And they want their fair share from the Board of Commissioners as well. So again, experience matters, experience counts. Being able to handle your own personal finances, I think, is a factor. I haven't had bankruptcies, and anybody can run through a stretch of bad luck. I understand that. But when there's a pattern over and over and over again, lawsuits there, challenges, misappropriation, things of that nature, how in the world do you entrust an organization the size of Fulton County, which is comparable to a $2+ billion private company? It's just public, but the dollars that we handle, how do you entrust that to someone who can't handle their own personal finances? That makes no sense at all. My record is pristine. My record is crystal clear. It is open. As we said earlier, I've represented our community with dignity through the years and not one hint of a scandal. And I'm very, very proud of that. I am a workhorse and not a show horse.
I love that. And I think someone tried to take your tag phrase, by the way, and use it in their campaign. When you say you're a workhorse and not a show horse. That is very, very, that is very good. Everything that you've said, I think, has cleared it up for a lot of people. So I'm going to summarize what you've discussed. You've discussed a lot of what and I'm going to say you all collectively, the commissioners have been doing for economic development. You really focused a lot on Fulton County, South Fulton County. But I do want to surmise that you all are bringing some economic development to South Fulton. It's something that you're currently working on, and some of these things will be coming to fruition pretty soon. You also talked about the jail. That is such a hot topic. I'm glad you started before I could even ask. So I am glad to hear that because you are under the consent decree or order, it's important that you all are in agreement with the plans that you have to manage and honor that year order. So that's why confusing for some people understand why recommendation hasn't been for the Board of Commissioners to build a brand new jail. Very, very good that you cleared that up. And then, of course, we are excited about the hospital or the emergency room. When we became a new city in the city of South Fulton, it was just very difficult for us to get to a hospital, especially when Wellstar closed. So I can only imagine how convenient it is now for some of my neighbors and the neighboring cities to be able to have access to the emergency center. And we're looking forward to the expansion of that and to the plans that you mentioned as well. The last thing that I'm going to touch on, and it's really the elephant in the room, and that is that it's been said that you are Republican. It's been said that you vote majority of the time with the Republicans. And I heard you touch on earlier that as a chairman, you have to be someone that can work with everybody.
Yes.
How can you dispel or confirm or deny what some of the people have been saying, that Rob is a Republican? And how does that impact us as a county for someone to identify you by a party?
Yeah, that is pure nonsense. It's a lie. It is a political trick that's used. I remember when my vice chair, Khadija Abdul-Rahman, she ran, they were saying that she was a Republican. In fact, even when Mo Ivory ran, they were saying that she was a Republican. That's just something that your opponents use because they think it gains traction, but it does not. They say, I vote with Republicans. Then our vote, let me tell you about our votes. Over the course of a term, and the term is 4 years, we probably cast in excess of 4,000 votes. I'd say, let's use round up 4,000 votes. If we cast 4,000 votes in a term, probably 3,990 are unanimous. Very few votes are not unanimous. And those that are, I can't recall anywhere they have been based upon party lines. Now, if what she means when she says that I vote with Republicans, and the two Republicans being Commissioner Bob Ellis and Commissioner Bridget Thorne, she meaning that Vice Chair Abdul Rahman and I, what she's really talking about is I, as chair, I convince the two Republicans to vote with me. Is just the opposite of what she's saying. I convince them to vote with me to support good legislation and to defeat bad legislation. Classic example, when my opponent, Miss Ivory, proposed raising property taxes, raising the millage rate by 14.2% this year and promises to do it, what did I do? I went to Vice Chair Abdul Rahman. She agreed with me. Then I went to Commissioner Ellis. I was able to convince him to vote with me to defeat her proposal to raise the millage rate of property taxes. Then I talked with Commissioner Bridget Thorne, convinced her to vote with me to defeat Mo Ivory's proposal to raise your millage rate. So now if she's criticizing me for that, I will do it again and again and again. I will always defeat bad legislation and support good legislation. Just remember this, she wants to raise your taxes and I do not. She proposed raising your taxes and I killed it. Did I have two Republicans voting with me? Yes, I did. Let me tell you this. I will make a deal with the devil himself, a political deal, if it's going to benefit the people of Fulton County, a county that I love. And if you cannot work, when you ask me what would I do in a brand new board, one of those things I talked about is letting them know, teaching them, explaining to them, you cannot get anything done unless you work. There's only 7 of us. work with everybody that's there. And that's the key. So this notion of me being a Republican, let me tell you something about that. I remember listening to Senator Warnock. And one of the things that he's most proud of is the fact that he's able and works with people across the aisle in the other party more than any other senator in order to get things done. That's how this game is played. If you don't understand that, you're in the wrong game.
Well, and I just want to thank you for all the plans that you mentioned. Out of all the plans that you mentioned and all the things that you're bringing to South Fulton, you not once said that you are doing those and our taxes have to be increased.
Absolutely.
And I think you've proven that by reminding us today that you worked with the other chairmen or chairwomen, and they are Republican, to make sure that our taxes aren't increased. And let's just say, hypothetically, if there does happen to be one, and I'm doing my little imaginary fingers, my parents are here. So everyone has been afraid of that word, like increasing taxes with everything that's going on in the economy. It seems like we have a very healthy Fulton County. There really is no need for an increase in increasing our taxes and for working with others. So I'm going to sum it up. Let's sum it up. Let's go ahead and tell the people, come Tuesday, June 16th, why should they cast their vote for you, Robb Pitts, to continue to be the chairman of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners?
2 reasons. My experience compared to my opponent's record of no experience, 0 experience. Number 1. Number 2, she has proposed raising the property tax or the millage rate by 14.2%. I defeated that. I will always fight to keep property taxes level. And for the past 7 or 8 years, they have been flat at 8.87 mills. And that is unheard of in the country. I'm very proud of that. When she, just think about, analyze this. She talks about raising taxes. Who is that going to hurt? It's going to hurt our seniors. If you're a senior, think about this. If you're on fixed income, you can't afford it. If you own a home, I get calls. Please don't let Mo Ivory raise my taxes. If you own a home, your taxes, your mortgage payment is going to go up. If you rent, renters say, well, it won't impact me. Nothing could be further from the truth. A property tax will cause the owner of the apartment in which you live to raise your rent in order to pay the increase in taxes. So everybody will be negatively impacted by this property tax that she wants to increase. Seniors, people on fixed incomes, homeowners, and renters alike. That cannot be. That will destroy all of the progress that we've made under my leadership over the past 7 or 8 years. This Mo Ivory has to be stopped.
Okay, well, we will end on that note. I want to thank you for joining me today. I think it's important for the people to hear from you and not from others. You have touched on really all of the high points that I wanted to share with the listeners in Safer Communities, as well as with everyone who has not cast their vote on Tuesday. So remember, you still have time to get out and cast your vote on Tuesday, June 16th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at your home precinct. Thank you, Robb, for joining me today in Safer Communities, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right.